Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden. It's sordid, but it's boring, and I don't understand why it keeps going.
I want to talk about the Epstein hoax, and the sad part is it's people that are really doing the Democrats' work. They're stupid people.
Donald Trump's supporters have erupted over the Justice Department's failure to release the much-hyped records in Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking investigation. But President Donald Trump's strategy for the longest time has been to downplay the issue. His problem? That nothing to see here approach doesn't work for his supporters, who learned from Trump only that they must not give up until the government's deepest, darkest secrets are exposed, a strategy that Trump applied to the previous Biden administration. Now, in the latest on Epstein files, the US president has threatened to sue the Wall Street Journal and its owner, Rupert Murdoch. This over a story about an alleged off-color letter he wrote to Jeffrey Epstein. All of this amid lingering political fallout over his administration's handling of the late financier's sex trafficking case. The article in the Journal says the letter, featuring a sketch of a naked woman and Mr. Trump's signature, was part of a collection of notes for Epstein's 50th birthday in 2003. According to the Wall Street Journal, the letter allegedly ends with the words, and I quote, "A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." And that finally elicited a response from Trump, who reacted on social media saying, "These are not my words, not the way I talk. Also, I don't draw pictures." Later, the US president ordered Attorney General Pam Bondi to seek the release of grand jury testimony related to Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, he has called it a scam perpetuated by the Democrats, which should end. Bondi has responded with the announcement that the grand jury transcripts will be unsealed. But it's unclear what material the Trump administration will ask to be released, because it's still not clear how much of the Epstein-related material in the government's possession is actually grand jury testimony. Now remember, there are 4 critical questions that still remain unanswered. Firstly, why are the documents suddenly so unimportant for Team Trump? Trump's strategy for dealing with the backlash basically amounts to move along everyone. Remember, Trump's loyalists, including FBI Director Kash Patel and AG Pam Bondi, have all cast the Epstein saga as a massive scandal in the past. But by evading the questions now, are Trump loyalists like Patel and Bondi admitting that they were just wrong in the past? Secondly, is Trump in the Epstein files at all? To be clear, this is not the same as asking whether the files show any wrongdoing by Trump. But it is worth asking if he's in there, particularly given his administration's failure to live up to its promises of disclosure. Thirdly, what happened to the additional files that were promised? Because the big news last week was that the administration said Epstein did kill himself and that there was no client list. But it wasn't the only reason the true believers were disappointed. The administration also effectively closed the matter. This, as it said, it wouldn't release anything else despite having promised plenty more disclosures. So why the change in tune now? Why didn't they say before that their promises of disclosure were subject to so many caveats? And most importantly, was Epstein an intelligence asset? Because when Pam Bondi explained herself last week, she had no direct answers to give. Many even questioned if Epstein somehow worked for Israel or the Mossad running a blackmail ring, a claim categorically rejected now by Israel's former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. But it certainly is a question that Bondi should have more of an answer to. Not surprising though, because the lack of satisfactory answers is now the new normal for the Trump administration.
I'd rather talk about the success we have with the economy, the best we've ever had, and all of the things we've done, including in the Middle East. I mean, you see it. Instead, they want to talk about the Epstein hoax. And the sad part is it's people that are really doing the Democrats' work. They're stupid people.
7 months into his second term, President Donald Trump is facing one of his greatest tests. It's not from a foreign country, it's not from another political party, but from within his own base. And it's all over a dead man. Trump has been hit with a negative poll about his administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case. Recent polls show that a majority of American voters disapprove of Trump's handling of the files related to the disgraced financier, who allegedly died by suicide in jail in 2019, weeks after his arrest on sex trafficking charges. According to a Quinnipiac University poll, 63% of those polled disapproved of the administration's handling of the files. Of these were 36% Republican voters. Separately, a Reuters Ipsos poll shows that 69% of the respondents think that the federal government was hiding details on Epstein's clients. Among Republicans, nearly two-thirds believe that the federal government is hiding details about Epstein's business. "10 days ago, the Department of Justice did an about-face announcement and said it wouldn't disclose any more details about Epstein, that he had no client list and that he had killed himself in prison and wasn't murdered." This disclosure poured cold water on Attorney General Pam Bondi's hyped-up claims that the files were lying on her desk.
In February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day.
That angered Trump's MAGA loyalists, who had been convinced that the president would reveal all about Epstein and his alleged cabal of powerful pedophiles. Suddenly, long-held conspiracy theories were fueled by new disappointment. The blowback over DOJ's decision even led to an intense shouting match at the White House last week between Bondi and FBI's Deputy Director Dan Bongino. Faced with MAGA's fury, Trump has been getting angrier and angrier. First, he tried to shut down the revolt.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
He publicly defended Pam Bondi as calls for her resignation grew louder. Then he pivoted to calling it fake information made up by former Presidents Biden and Obama.
I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden information.
Hours later, he called for any credible information to be released.
It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think, really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have it.
Later, he lashed out at his loyalists who have turned against him over the Epstein files.
He's dead, he's gone, and all it is the Republicans, certain Republicans got duped by the Democrats, and they're following a Democrat playbook. And no different than Russia, and all the other hoaxes. They're started by the Democrats, and some Republicans, in this case I was surprised, but they got duped.
While the president is calling on his supporters to move past what he describes as the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, the controversy is only spiraling. And negative polling could affect the Republican Party in the 2026 midterms.